All right, so we just wrapped up the primary, and you know what happens? People always assume that nobody's going to go and vote during the primary. Well, guess what? People did go and vote, and we made history. We made history right here with State Representative Ed Gainey, who is now the Democratic nominee for the mayor, city of Pittsburgh, potential to be the first African-American mayor in the city of Pittsburgh. You are the first African-American to win this slot already. Welcome, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Lynne.
So this isn't for you, though. I mean, everybody's talking about has the potential to be the first Black mayor, has da-da-da-da. That's not what this is about for you, though, is it?
No, it's really not. One, I'm honored. I mean, this is historical in the making. For me not to be honored would be a problem. But I'm very honored and I'm very grateful. But I want to be a mayor for all of Pittsburgh because I believe we got to grow the city. And I believe that we can't do it unless we do it together.
So when we look at, and I'm still kind of breaking down some of the numbers from, who voted in what area, but what has struck me already in looking at these numbers is the fact that you won this with support across the board. This wasn't about Homewood or Larmer or the Hill. This was about everybody.
It was about the city. The one thing that I said before, and I'll say again, is that last year I seen a certain energy. When a peaceful protest took place, what we saw was you seen young and old, Black and white, LGBTQIA and straight, marching together. Some held signs called environmental justice, social justice, LGBTQIA justice, Black lives justice. But the common denominator was justice. And these were young people on the street marching. Lynn, I've been in Pittsburgh my whole life. I never seen that. Mm-hmm. And so when you see that energy, you don't want to push it away or abort it. You want to embrace it and empower it. And I seen how these young people were coming together and they didn't judge. They just wanted justice. Mm. You and I know that's a whole new ideal for this city. And I think you seen it play out last night. I believe you seen it play out last night.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when you look at, you campaigned on a couple of key areas. Obviously there's broader ones, mm-hmm. Affordable housing, fair policing, getting some of these entities around here to pay their fair share in taxes. Would you say those were your three primary?
Yeah, there were three primary. There were some others, but police community relations is important. At the end of the day, I believe we have some good police officers, I really do. But the reality is we can't close a blind eye to the Black and brown people that have been murdered at the hands of police. African Americans in this city make up 23% of Pittsburgh, but 65% of all arrests look like me and you. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. And that comes from over-policing. You can't have equity if you're over-policing in areas where your arrest rates are going up, which is traumatic to a lot of the communities. In communities of color, if I'm always arresting the same people, I'm coming away with felonies, misdemeanors. Now I can't get jobs. We have to stop over-policing in neighborhoods. We also have to demilitarize our police. Our police. There's no reason to have a military-style police. I'm trying to figure out who we at war with. We seen last year what happened with the peaceful protesters. One gentleman lost his eye. The other one had to go to hospital because they had an asthma attack. That's not how you build a community. That's how you divide it. Mm-hmm. We're at a situation, not only in this city, but in America, where we have to find ways to bridge that gap. So what do I want to do? Demilitarize the police force. Make sure that we're taking that line item and put it into community-oriented policing, to where they're walking the beat again, where they know Ms. Freeland. They know who's on that street. They know how to build relationships. We got to overstop policing in neighborhoods. We don't want that because we know what happened. Create equity across the board. And thirdly, we should have social workers on calls. Because at the end of the day, if we have social workers on call, then we can de-escalate some of the situations going on in our mental health community. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why they shouldn't be on calls. Those are the three areas when we talk about policing that we can improve. Affordable housing, between 2014 and 2019, 7,000 African Americans have been either pushed out or forced out of the city of Pittsburgh. We're better than that. We need to make sure that we pass inclusionary zoning so that in every project that comes to the city, automatically affordability is already embedded in. So it's not an add-on, it's already there. So everybody knows that if you don't have affordability, we can't do the project. And then thirdly is how we use the tools that that President Biden is talking about in regards to creating more affordable housing. We have to do that. And nonprofits, if you're a $9 billion charitable organization, $9 billion. And on an estimate, if you were paying taxes, it'd be $40 million a year. Then we should have a conversation about you paying your fair share. Mm-hmm. And if not, then we have to look at other alternatives in order to challenge the tax status so that we can make sure that our nonprofits are paying their fair share.
So, you know what comes to mind as I'm sitting here listening to you? I think that, and I'll just ask it in the form of a question. Do you think that people underestimate Ed Gainey? I mean, back when you went after Joe Preston's seat, people thought that was kind of like bold, kind of. When you announced that you were running for mayor, some people thought that was bold. But you did it both times. You did it.
Yeah, I don't know if they underestimate me. Here's how I look at it. I've never been given nothing in my life. Didn't nobody come to me and say, here, build your life off of this, make a life off of that. I've always had to work hard for whatever I wanted. And I come from an area where I've seen the level of discrimination firsthand and injustice. And if you want to make a better world, then you have to be able to stand up to that. I don't come from, I come from a single mom. Like, my mom was 15 when she had me.
Wow.
15. I understand what it means to live that lifestyle. I grew up from the high rise to the low rise in East Liberty. Everybody know what that building was about. Mm-hmm. Everybody know the activity that was going on in that building. I never met a politician. I never had one call me. I had no one knocked on our doors. We didn't have community meetings. I wasn't exposed to that level of life. I didn't get into politics till I got to Morgan State University. And my first college that I went to was Norfolk State. Flunked out of there my first semester, 1.8. We didn't go on vacation. So when I got to Norfolk and I was on my own for the first time, I was 18 with a 14-year-old mentality. Wow. And so, there's certain things that I had never experienced, like the beach. Virginia Beach was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't mature enough to be able to understand what was going on and why learning in college was important. But when I came home, the one thing that my mother said to me was, my firstborn, and you bring me home a failure. Wow. That's a heavy conversation for a mother to have with a child. I spent 2 years at CCAC to work my behind off to go to Morgan State. Hold that right there. Hold the Morgan State. We got to take a commercial break. Hold it. We'll come right back. I'm telling you, I know you're glad you tuned in. We'll be right back.